Today, we're going to talk about a company that you've probably never heard of, but I guarantee you its technology is powering pretty much every single piece of advanced electronics you own. They are the hidden engine of our entire digital world. So let me just ask you something. What do you think is the most complex machine ever built by humankind? I mean, is it a particle accelerator? Maybe a space station? Well, the answer is actually right here on Earth, being built in a quiet little town in the Netherlands. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, a single one of these machines costs $200 million. That's about the same price as a brand new Boeing 747. So what on earth is this thing? Well, it's called an extreme ultraviolet lithography machine. You can just think of it as a printer that creates impossibly small circuits on silicon. It's the size of a city bus, weighs 180 tons, and it's the absolute most critical, most expensive step in making the chips for your phone, your car, the entire internet. And there is only one company on the whole planet that can make them, ASML. Okay, so how did a single Dutch company manage to dominate the most critical technology of the 21st century? You'd think it all started in some state-of-the-art lab, right? Nope, it started in a leaky shed. That's a quote from ASML's own CEO. See, back in 1984, the company was just this tiny, underfunded spinoff from the electronics giant Philips. They were literally working out of a shed, and their parent company had so many other problems that, well, nobody really paid them any attention. But you know what? That neglect actually gave them freedom. From that humble shed, they went public in '95, started buying up critical suppliers, and then they did something nobody had ever done before. They actually convinced their biggest customers, we're talking Intel, Samsung, and TSMC, to help pay for the research into their next big idea. And this was the bet that changed everything. At the time, all the big dominant American companies looked at the next frontier, this technology called EUV, and they all said, no way, it's too expensive, it's too risky. But ASML, this underdog from the Netherlands, they were willing to take that massive, decades-long plunge. And that bet is what eventually gave them a 100% monopoly. To really get why ASML is so dominant, though, you have to understand the absolutely monumental physics problem they had to solve. It was basically a quest to control a type of light that behaves like almost nothing else in the universe. We're talking about something called extreme ultraviolet light, or EUV. Its wavelength is just incredibly short. So short, in fact, that it gets absorbed by literally everything. I mean, everything, even the air itself. So to make any of this work, the entire machine has to operate inside a perfect vacuum. This was a challenge that most people in the industry thought was completely impossible for mass production. So how do you even make this light? Get this. Inside that vacuum, the machine fires a tiny droplet of molten tin. Then it zaps that little droplet with a massive laser, not once, but twice. The tin just explodes into a plasma, and for a split second, it releases a flash of EUV light. And the machine does this 50,000 times every single second. It's just mind-boggling. But making the light, that's only half the battle. Because it gets absorbed by everything, you can't use traditional lenses. You have to use mirrors. So ASML partnered with the German company Zeiss to create the flattest surfaces ever made by humans. To put that in perspective, if you blew up one of these mirrors to be the size of the entire country of the Netherlands, the biggest bump on it would be just 1 millimeter high. That's insane. The level of precision needed to guide that light is almost impossible to wrap your head around. Their own customer, TSMC, came up with the best analogy. They said it's like standing on the moon with a laser pointer and successfully hitting a coin on Earth. Just a truly staggering feat of engineering. And who paid for all this impossible physics? Well, in a huge way, it was ASML's own customers. Back in 2012, they got TSMC, Samsung, and Intel to invest billions of dollars directly into the company's research. So they weren't just customers anymore, they became partners, shareholders, creating this incredibly deep, interdependent alliance that no competitor could ever hope to replicate. But here's the thing. When you create a technology this powerful, this unique, and this essential, you don't just become a successful company. You become a geopolitical asset. And the unintended consequence of ASML's incredible success is that it is now at the very center of global politics. Because what happens when you have a 100% monopoly on something this critical? It means no one else makes these machines. It means without them, you can't make advanced chips for AI, for supercomputers, for the next generation of smartphones. Moore's law itself would grind to a halt. This absolute power has turned ASML into the world's most critical technological chokepoint, especially in the growing tech rivalry between the US and China. And this puts ASML right in the middle of two giant opposing forces. On one side, you have the US strategy, which is to use the company's monopoly as a choke point to slow down China's progress in things like AI and military technology. And on the other side, you have China, for whom this creates an absolutely critical need to become self-sufficient and build their own alternative, no matter what it takes. And look, this isn't just some theoretical standoff. It's happening right now. The United States successfully lobbied the Dutch government, and now ASML is blocked from selling its most advanced EUV machines to China. These restrictions have even started to include some of their older, less advanced machines, which still creates a major roadblock for China's tech ambitions. So, all of this geopolitical pressure creates a whole new dynamic. For ASML, and really for the rest of the world, the future isn't just about physics anymore. Now it's about politics, global strategy, and a really high-stakes race against time. And ASML is not standing still, not by a long shot. They're already building the next generation. It's called high-NA EUV. These machines are going to be even more complex, even more precise, and way more expensive. We're talking well over $300 million a piece. And Intel has already bought the very first one, hoping this new tech can help it finally catch up to its rivals. But even inside ASML, there's this feeling, this recognition, that their technological lead might not last forever. An executive there actually warned that these export controls are really just a delaying tactic because, and these are his words, given enough time, the laws of physics are universal. Which really leaves us with this final massive question. ASML's lead was built on a decades-long gamble, a completely unique international collaboration, and solving problems that were once thought to be completely impossible. But when the fundamental rules of science are available to everyone, can you really stay ahead forever? Or does trying to deny someone a technology just accelerate their own race to catch up? That is the multi-trillion-dollar question that's going to shape the rest of our century.